Absolutely.
I agree with you 100%. It's critical.
So now tell me about this Juneteenth celebration that you guys have this year that we just got to make better than any other year before, and it's just going to take people to do that. How do we do that?
Well, I think being here with you is a great step in that right direction. That this is about all of us, and especially us African Americans. But mind you, Juneteenth is not celebrated just by African Americans. When you look at the state of Minnesota, having made Juneteenth a state holiday, and it's a state that's predominantly non-African American, then that tells you something about how vast this celebration is occurring throughout the nation. So yes, Juneteenth is a celebration that we all need to take part in. It talks about and tells a story about who we are, or a part of the story of who we are anyway, as it relates to the ending of slavery. And
so many of us though say, you're always talking about slavery. Why don't you just rise above it and get
if it were just
what
that
do you
simple,
say to people like that?
If it were just that simple, I wish that it were that simple. You know, it's strange that we want to do that. And when you look at other groups of people, there is not a Jew in America who will tell you that they want to get over the Holocaust and that they will allow their children to not understand and know that experience. I understand that as a people, we have been so traumatized for so long. You know, the onslaught has just been, you know, without end. And we're tired as a people. I can understand that. But I think that until we take the time to really look at that period, that enslavement period, and understand the effects that it is still having on us in 2009, I think that, you know, we're just going to continue to go around in these circles, continue to self-sabotage, continue to do things that are not in our best interest. But I'm excited about Juneteenth because you know, I used to tell my students, 21st century students all the time, you know, it's dangerous to confuse your history with that of someone else's. You know, you mentioned Minnesota. They understand that our histories are intertwined.
Yes.
However, when you look at Black people celebrating the 4th of July and then not understanding the importance of Juneteenth, then that says something about not knowing your history and confusing your history with someone else's.
But
now,
see, we can celebrate the 4th of July by getting some beer and some wine and some liquor and some firecrackers. And we can go out and put the barbecue pit out and put some pig on it and some cow on it. And then we can stand around it and lie and pull up all people together and have a good time. And we don't have to invest any kind of energy into really exploring and understanding anything.
Well, that's true. And that's why I say we've confused our history with someone else's history. Right. Because July 4th, 1776, our ancestors were still enslaved in this country. July 4th, 1776 has no personal relevance for us. However, this Juneteenth celebration is our independence. It represents our independence from the most horrific form of enslavement ever perpetrated on a people. And so that is why it's important that we get the word out and let people understand the relevance of this particular celebration.
And to July 4th is a part of the socialization process that we've gone through. You know, when you're born in this country, your family, everybody you know, celebrates 4th of July. So,
or as Malcolm would say, the 4th of July.
So what we're proposing to our communities throughout this nation, and especially here in Tuskegee, that we start looking at Juneteenth like that. Every baby born should come here knowing about Juneteenth, so that it becomes a part of their socialization process. When, you know, they get old enough to really understand, they will know why they celebrate Juneteenth and why it should be celebrated. When you think about the fact that in 1862, September 22nd, President Lincoln issued the proclamation at that time, the Emancipation Proclamation. And a lot of people say, well, was he really just trying to end slavery? Well, no, he was trying to win the war. Mm-hmm. That's really what that was about.
Preserve the Union.
Right.
And preserve the Union, exactly. Because the Civil War was raging. And so one of the things that he did was issue that proclamation declaring that America's slaves would be freed effective January 1st, 1863. And the word just didn't get around the nation to all of the slaves and their slave owners until 1865. And that's what really happened to create the celebration of Juneteenth. June the 19th, 1865 was the date that the last slaves were made free in the state of Texas. That's why the word is called Juneteenth. It is a combination of the two words, June and 19th. It's significant to celebrate it because the ending of that brutal, like you said, onslaught of just the only level of that kind of life that anyone has lived on this earth happened to us, our people, as slaves. And so to celebrate the fact that that has ended is something worth celebrating.
Absolutely.
And not only in terms of, that history of it, but let's look at what our people went through and experienced during that period so that it can help us to not ever let it be repeated.